Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Philly Fan Radio. I'm John Myer, along with Dan Palmieri, and it's like watching paint dry lately. I'll tell you what, I think this is so, I don't want to say boring, relaxing. Like, what the fuck are we supposed to do, Dan? I mean, we're going to comment on what's happening in the OC situation, some speculations going on, who's been interviewed, maybe some predictions for this weekend's game, playoffs, and the Super Bowl. I don't know. Maybe we'll do some tricks here. Who knows?
Yeah, well, it is, like you said, it's like watching paint dry and, and it's not for like a lack of options. That's the hardest part for me is that there are tons of options out there, but it's just an odd feeling and we'll go into it, but is it the fact that nobody wants to come? Is it just the fact that nobody's a fit? Is it the fact of there's other opportunity? I don't know. I mean, I would think from the outside perspective that this would be a good opportunity. I mean, Jesus Christ, they've generated, two head coaches now? Two head coaches, Steichen and, more. Gannon, you can count that. But Steichen, Gannon, more. So it's not like there isn't an opportunity here to springboard to a head coaching job. It's just such an odd feeling, especially since the candidates we'll go into. I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm having to Google search who the hell these guys are because never friggin' heard of them. And when I look at where they've interviewed other than the Eagles, it's like Eagles. Like, nobody else wants them.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just, like, going through a checklist. Like, listen, pull everybody out of the woodwork. Please do not interview anybody that does not have play calling experience. While they have a label as an offensive coordinator, they're just as well off as a head coach who doesn't do anything between play calling, defense, offense. They're just a cheerleader on the sideline. Let's go in through some of the candidates. First of all, Dan, and it's weird. It feels like this OC job for the Eagles should have been locked up within a week. All right, we're going on, 10 days now? 11 days, somewhere right around there.
Yeah, almost
no
2 weeks.
OC, and they are claiming some others. Now I'm going to read them off real quick, and then we're just going to talk about where they're at, where they're going. Okay. So Brian Daboll, McDaniels, Kingsbury, Stefanski, Reich, Charlie Weiss Jr. By the way, I don't even know half of these freaking people. And Dan even said we had to Google them. Matt Nagy, BOB COOTER. I just love saying the name, but I'm just oh.
We'll try to be adults about it and not smile every time we say it, but we are children at heart.
We are Eagles fan. And a little side note, if you have TikTok, which you do because this is where you're watching some of our highlights, just go search Cooter Economics. You'll love the crap out of there. Anyway, Josh Gizzard, Mike KAFKA, Bobby Slowick. Wait, what, huh? And then Deacon Doyle. Okay. Let's take off the people who haven't called plays anymore. Sorry, BOB COOTER. You're the OC of the Colts. You don't call plays. We're going to not talk about you. Deacon Doyle, Chicago OC, doesn't call plays. You're out of there. Who else on the list who hasn't called? Does anybody else not call plays? I mean, yeah. No, I think that's about it.
He's the head coach of the Falcons now.
Okay. Well, we'll get into that a little bit.
I don't even know.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If you're the head coach, when was the last time you called plays? Are you the offensive play caller, or do you just dish that off like Sirianni does to the offensive coordinator? And I don't like that. And the reason that we're getting rid of those who don't call plays is because that means Sirianni is going to have his hands into it to call plays or hasn't had any experience as well. And it's just going to be the same freaking situation. And this is horrible.
Yeah, and that's exactly right, is that we are looking for an established play caller because it's clear that if we don't have a guy that's got in-game knowledge, that they can't run ideas past Sirianni because, sorry, but Sirianni's not that great of an offensive play caller. Well, okay.
Nope.
I'm being really generous when I say not that great. He's not good as an offensive play caller. We saw
We've
it.
seen it.
Yeah, and so we need someone that's out there that can make those magic things called in-game adjustments. And while these guys that you're reading off, Declan Doyle, friggin'
He was the youngest, by the way, a little
the
kid.
Cooter man.
I'm gonna laugh every time.
These guys, they might be great. They might be good play callers, but
I don't want to test it out.
Exactly.
I do not want. We've done this already. We've already tested out play callers. We know the results, and in fact, if any of these get selected, they are in the hot seat right away. They are. By week 3, if they totally suck, they'd be out real quick because the fans would rip them apart.
Yeah, and that's, I think, might actually be a reason why there's some hesitancy from candidates, is because this is a win-now team. This isn't one of those you can ease into it and kind of just mosey along. This ain't the Cleveland Browns. This ain't the friggin' Falcons. These aren't teams that will be happy to make the playoffs. We're looking for a Super Bowl here, and as you've seen, Brian Johnson lasted 1 year. Kevin Toole lasted 1 year. Not only that, these guys, their housed. Their house was egged. These are people that were criticized in the media every week, questioning basically everything but their manhood. So it's going to be hard. It is hard to... It's a hard market to play in, but that's the thing, is that if you do what you're supposed to and you show that ability, you're loved. You are absolutely loved. But if you suck, you are absolutely hated. There is no middle ground here. There is none.
And the Eagles had a great record this year, and even Kevin Patula sucks. So just take that into consideration. And what Dan's talking about is the fans, the OC that gets selected has to have thick skin because of the fans who are putting a lot of pressure on it. The question goes into, and I'll jump back to this question after we go a couple of the candidates, is it taking too long because of Hurts? Is it taking too long because of Sirianni? What about Roseman? Or what about some stipulations? And we've heard some rumors around Jeff Stoutland who, hey, this new OC can't bring in his own personnel because Stoutland's staying. Now, there's all kinds of information out there, and Dan, I'll ask you that question in a second, but Daboll is hanging around waiting for the Titans OC or the Bills head coach position. By the way, did you just hear that Phillip Rivers is going to interview for the Bills head coach?
I don't understand that at all. I don't know.
He's got to get health care again. That's why.
Jesus Christ. I don't get that one. He's never coached in any capacity other than his kid's high school team. So I don't understand that one. Unless the Bills are like, it's a charity case. I don't know.
I think it's funny. Okay, McDaniels signed with the Chargers.
So real quick on McDaniels, which is very odd, is that I thought he signed with the Chargers too, but it was just tweeted out that he's interviewing with the Bills as well. So, he hasn't... It's one of those, I signed a contract, but I didn't sign a contract, a la Frank Gore when he came here. So, I don't know what the hell's going on. Let's just say he's not going to come to Philly. That's basically what it's come down to.
Well, you know what? Maybe he signed it and his agent's holding on to it and saying, hey, listen, we're not sending it to you because we're looking for the Bills thing. Now, McDaniels... I don't think he should go to be a head coach anywhere, but he's got a lot of energy. I mean, he did pretty decent in Miami for a cheerleading type aspect. I mean, Miami didn't have a great, record for years. So, kind of going off of that, I think he would be great as an OC position. So just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there are tons of candidates that just simply aren't good head coaches. I mean, Vic Fangio, we've got one of them. He was a horrible head coach. He was.
Yep.
But he's a fantastic coordinator. I mean, hell, he's a finalist for assistant coach of the year. So there are cases of that. It's just, we need a guy that has play calling experience. And none of these guys spark any sort of pizzazz or anything because they just haven't called plays at a high level. I mean, to really quick, to instill some confidence in you, I mean, Jesus Christ, Kingsbury, he hasn't interviewed yet, but he was fired, okay? So let's get that out of the way. Matt Nagy, fired. Didn't really call plays with Andy Reid anyway. He did a little bit in Chicago. We remember he was the head coach when the double doink happened. So
I was waiting for that again this past offseason just because it would have been cool.
Well, Cooter was the OC for the Colts. He didn't call plays. Josh Gizzard in Tampa Bay, he called plays, but he was fired. And when we think of Tampa Bay, we really don't think of offense. KAFKA, nah, he called plays. He was okay, but, I mean, does he really scream awesome? No.
Does he really scream Eagles awesome? He might scream Giants or Jets awesome, but
yeah, well, Bobby Slowick, I mean, former offensive coordinator of the Texans, he called plays, but, you know, it was the Texans. They're not known for their offense either, and he was fired. And then we've got Declan Doyle, who is the Chicago OC, but again, he doesn't call plays. He's very, very young. He might be fantastic. Who the hell knows? I think he comes from the McDaniels McVay tree type of deal, which is fine, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a good coach. Doesn't mean he's going to be a good play caller. And I don't want this whole learning on the job shit. I'm tired of that, you know, because as we've seen, you could be learning on the job for 3 weeks, or you could be learning on the job for an entire season, you know, a la Patullo, who I don't know if he ever learned on the job, but you know what I mean.
So you talked about it. Kingsbury hasn't even interviewed, and the other one, Frank Reich, we haven't heard anything from, so we don't even know what he's doing. The question that I have is, first of all, last year we lost our OC Kellen Moore to the Saints. First of all, we actually liked him. I mean, he came from Dallas, which is very tough for an Eagles fan to like even a Dallas coach of some sorts or Dallas player. But we liked him. He went. So now we had a search for an OC, bottom of the barrel, and we went in-house because there was nobody left. Apparently, nobody left.
Right.
Now there's a plethora of people available, yet we're pulling people that we don't even know, never heard of, have to Google them, and have to do research to understand who they are, what experience they have, look back at their record. They could have an awesome season, but I don't want to find out. I do not want to learn about it. You know, preseason's going to be tough for any OC that comes into Philadelphia, because if we don't see some cool shit right away, we're going to be a little skeptic of them in their season. Dan, my question for you is it taking so long because of Jeff Stoutland, the Hurts, Sirianni, Howie? Are they doing a committee pool? I mean, why?
I honestly think, so when you look at it, I don't think it's Hurts, okay? Because there could be worse quarterback options out there. And I'm so sick of the media saying that, you know, Hurts is the reason our offense is held back and everything. Hurts doesn't pass the ball as much as the others. He doesn't, okay? But he's shown an ability to pass the ball. Is he a top 5 quarterback? No, I don't think so. Is he a top 10 quarterback? I think he'd be borderline, yes. He is a top 10 quarterback. And again, it goes back to our argument that we had all throughout the year. When did winning become a secondary stat to these people? You know, just because the offense doesn't look the way everybody's offense does, where they're putting up 500 yards, doesn't mean that it's bad. I mean, Bo Nix didn't put up 500 yards. But you know what? They're in the AFC Championship. I know he's injured, but they're in the AFC Championship. I mean, Sam Darnold throws for like 150 to 175 yards a game. He's a game manager. They're in the NFC Championship and, in fact, probably a favorite to win. I mean, you don't need to have elite quarterback play if you could surround them with good talent. But you know, Sirianni is a puzzling aspect because he does like to meddle in things. We've seen it. And they've guaranteed us that, you know, the offensive play caller will have autonomy. You know, they'll have the ability to run things the way they want, which is fine. But I think it has a lot to do with there's uncertainty surrounding this offense and the market, the media market. I mean, the media market here is harsh. It is. It is unlike anything I've ever seen, you know, and I know a lot of people will stand up and say, well, New York's market is just as bad. I don't think so, because the expectations in New York aren't really that high. But in the Philly market, they cave in on you really quick. And it's hard. If you're not prepared for that, it's really hard. It is. And it's just a simple fact that, it's just, you have to have thick skin, like you said. You have to have thick skin when it comes to it. And, I don't know. It's so perplexing to me, to be honest with you, why people wouldn't want to come to this job other than those things. But still, you have a chance at making a Super Bowl in your first year. And to go back a little bit, the thing that I think is also causing some issues are you don't know what's going to happen with Goddard, okay? Contractually, who knows? I think the A.J. Brown thing is really looming over people's heads because they see the dysfunction there. And whether or not A.J. will be a part of the team, I don't know if a lot of people want to have to deal with that shit that he keeps bringing to the table.
Yeah, but I think that aspect of it is Sirianni's problem, right? And just like you stated in our last recording, A.J. Brown could squash this shit in a heartbeat. He could come on there, kill the drama, be done with it. There will still be talk, but it will be the ending of the talk, the bottom of the barrel stuff that won't pop up as frequently, right? It hurts. I don't think there's an issue with Hurts. I don't think there's an issue with him and Hurts. I think the media is blowing it all out of proportion. Did A.J. Brown seek a trade? I heard some rumors by week 3, by last year, blah, 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 all that other stuff. Who the fuck cares? To be honest with you, as of right now, and to Howie dictates what is happening with AJ, either a trade now with a post-June designation. I don't know, and I don't care. And the OC coming in should not depend upon one player. He's got Hurts. He looks at it, and he should look at not this past year's tape because it was freaking horrible, but the Kellen Moore series, that tape. He should look at that and say, hey, listen, this is what we got, and we've got a better run team now with Tank and Saquon. And, okay, so we don't have AJ. Say he's out of the picture. Well, there's still a lot of availability. You could still trade, pull somebody in. I just think, you know what? There's just too much freaking drama. Pick your OC. Tell AJ to button his freaking lip. Sign people to their contracts. Be transparent. And we all be freaking happy and merry.
Yeah, and it's not like Howie's not going to go out there and replenish talent. I mean, I'm going to go off the assumption that AJ's not going to be here because I don't see how you can bring him back. With everything he keeps doing, the effort that we saw on tape with him, he could say that he gave maximum effort, or Sirianni could stay up there and say he gave maximum effort, and it's shit. Anybody with eyes can tell that he was dogging it. So I'm going on the assumption of that, but it's not like if we lose AJ, we don't have talent. We've got Devonta Smith, who I feel, and I'm sure a lot of people feel, is a number 1 wide receiver in this league. When you saw that AJ was not getting his catches, Devonta Smith was killing it out there. You've got a top 5 running back in the league in Saquon Barkley. You've got, I know they had a rough year, but you have, when healthy, a really good offensive line that is signed for quite some time other than our right guard spot. Our tight end, who knows? Who knows? But if we don't re-sign Goddard, it's not like Howie's just going to be content with standing there and being like, all right, we're just going to roll with some no-name. That's not going to happen. He's either going to swing a trade or he's going to maybe trade pieces of draft capital to move up and take a guy. So this isn't a team that's going to sit passively and be like, nah, we're just going to let it happen, because Howie knows just as well as anybody that if things don't move in the right direction, he doesn't replenish the talent that he's losing, then there's going to be a riot. We're going to stand outside the NovaCare complex with dumpsters and light them on fire again.
Going off of what you said with AJ and not thinking that he's going to return this year, I blame the whole thing on Sirianni. I blame it on him for tolerating it. I blame it on him for seeing what everybody else is seeing, sweeping that underneath the rug, and then letting him step foot on that field. He should have manned up, got a pair of big ones, and said, AJ, until shit's right with you, sit your butt on the bench, read your book. Devonta's going in there. He's the number 1 for it. We're going to throw others in there, give it a chance going down the line. And when we didn't have AJ, were we winning? Yeah, I think when he was out, we won those games, right?
Yeah, we won those games. And when he was getting like only 3 receptions and, I don't know, 5 targets a game, we were still winning the games. Everybody was bitching. They were all bitching, oh, well, the passing game doesn't look the way it's supposed to. We're only winning close games. But we were winning. It wasn't until we started force-feeding, AJ that we started to lose.
And the turnovers,
I don't think that's coincidence.
And all this shit happens then. Yep. I agree with you. That is completely horrible. So, okay, we have discussed that it's, obviously the OC. There's a listing out there. Now, while we went through a ton of lists, let's just narrow this down, really. There's about like 2 candidates on the list. I mean, Daboll's still available. Kingsbury, if he ever interviews, if he hasn't interviewed yet, there is a question of why do you really want him? And then Frank Reich, who we haven't heard anything. Other than that, there's nobody else on the list that really gets me excited for it. I mean, if you bring in, I'm sorry, I was going to say Cooter here, but, just imagine on the sideline shouting, instead of KP, you're shouting, Jim Bob Cooter! I feel like it's a redneck thing.
Jim Bob Cooter. I want a Costco full of Cooter.
We are not going to continue on that conversation because we might have to beep some of the things out. Okay, Dan, with our OCs and everything going there, and we haven't heard anything going, and it's typical fashion of not hearing anything and speculations being dropped galore on the media and the conversation, everything going on. There's been some stuff that, the OC wants to pick his whole new staff, and Stoutland's not going anywhere. That's been told by Howie and Ned. Is that true or not? Why would you want to take him out of there if, Dan, what are your thoughts on the whole Stoutland thing?
So I've never heard of like a situation where the OC wants to bring in his own staff. That's a little odd to me. Usually it's the head coach who wants to bring in his own staff and dictate it from there. So I don't know if that's any truth. I honestly think that the media is trying to just fabricate shit, and they're trying to generate clicks. I don't see how Stoutland could be a hiccup. I mean, he's probably one of the top 2 or 3 offensive line coaches in the league, so why would you want to bring in somebody that's not on that level? So, and I mean, Stoutland's a run game coordinator, but I don't know, maybe I'm naive in thinking, what does really a run game coordinator do? You specify like the blocking scheme up front, which is yay. Just call it run.
Well, this past year, going off of it.
As long as we don't run up the middle and do an H-back dive every time, we'll be fine, I guess. But yeah, I don't see.
Dan, my question for you, and this is going to be fun. Is there a KP 2.0 happening?
Jesus Christ, are we going to resurrect him? Is that what you're talking about?
Do you think? Remember, he's still part of the organization. He was fired as the OC, but not fired off the team. So
he's getting the Roseman treatment. He's moved to a different wing of the building. If that man is still cashing a check, then the Eagles have bigger problems than we think.
First of all, he probably is. I mean, I haven't heard anything otherwise, but I think when they find the OC, they'll name KP as the ball boy somewhere.
I just, every time we think of like Kevin Patullo and what's happening here, I keep going back to like when they kind of just ran out of options and they took Juan Castillo and moved him from defensive line coach to like offensive coordinator.
I remember that. He had no experience. Hey, let's test this out.
Yeah, it was like, oh, well, he helps the offense in meetings, to know how they're going to pass rush and everything. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean he's good. And so that just like completely blew up. But I keep getting flashbacks. It's like PTSD here. I mean, the Brian Johnson, the Juan Castillos, we've had some real shit out there as coordinators, and I don't know. I'm trying to remain positive, but you see how that's going.
it's just been too long for a decision. It's just been without any news, like, hey, came back for a second or third, or where there hasn't been any reports. Now we know that anything from Sirianni is fluff. Anything that he comes out there, we're still evaluating. I got to go back and watch the tape. The flowers are still growing,
Yeah, they're never going to give you a straightforward answer. It's not. You don't hear about these interviews until after it's already been published. And like you said, it's odd that they're not bringing people back in for second interviews. And I'm trying to think to myself, I'm like, maybe they're waiting on a coordinator of one of the remaining teams. But I mean, okay, so let's go down that avenue because
Seahawks, Rams, Patriots, Broncos.
I literally just thought of that. I'm like thinking maybe they're waiting. So let's think. The Patriots, Josh McDaniels is their OC. He calls plays. He ain't going anywhere. Okay,
he's been there for centuries, man.
Yeah, and the Broncos OC doesn't call plays. I don't even know who the hell it is, but he doesn't call plays because that's Sean Payton. So throw that out the window. The Seahawks, Mike McDonald. I honestly can't think. Is he the OC or the DC? I think he's the defensive coordinator. So I don't even know who the hell the offensive coordinator is for Seattle. So that leaves us with the Rams, who we know McVay calls the plays, and I don't even know who the hell their OC is. So I can't even look at it and say they're waiting on a guy from this.
Kubiak for the Seahawks.
Clint Kubiak? Yeah, well, This is his first year. He ain't going anywhere. So
yeah, with head coach Mike McDonald. Does he call plays?
Kubiak does. I think McDonald calls defense.
Okay, just checking.
I think
served
so.
as the. Oh no, Kubiak served as the OC for the Saints in 24 and Vikings in 2021, and held other assistant roles.
Yeah, but he's got an OC where he's calling plays. He ain't gonna come here. It's a lateral move, and
no,
you're out
I'm
in
just
Seattle
saying,
right now.
Yeah. Well, for what they're doing, I get it, but I don't know. It's not a increase in position. Where's the value? They're already there. So the options are, nope. I mean, yeah, that's about it. Unless they're going to try to. I'm sorry, this is going to ruffle your feathers a little bit. Unless there's somebody else on the team that they're going to interview for the OC position.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You really think that they would do that? You honestly
well,
think
they
they would do
picked KP. I mean, what? They picked Johnson. They picked Juan Castillo. I mean, come on. There have been some questionable decisions.
Yeah, there have been, but I would hope that they would learn from their mistakes. And, well, they didn't this past time, but we would think that a year removed from that dumpster fire, we would have learned from our mistakes. So, I mean, I don't see them in hiring internally. I don't even know who the hell's out there to hire internally. Was anybody on this offensive staff this year good? I don't think so.
No, don't even put that out there. Dan, here's a question for you. If whoever they pick, right? Let's just say the OC and the offense really sucks this coming year. I don't want to be a homer. I want to be realistic. Do you think Sirianni's in the hot seat? Do you think if they don't make the playoffs, Sirianni's out next year?
Oh, don't make the playoffs? Absolutely. 100%. I think that Sirianni's on the hot seat, not because of his win-loss record, for nothing more than he's had the ability now to pick two coordinators, and it hasn't worked out. So
0 for 2.
Yeah, and when you think about what he brings to the table, I mean, he doesn't call plays, so that is a strike against him right there. Secondly is, there are times that his personality just rubs people the wrong way. He is a player's coach, but he is a bit out there, so there's that. And there's the question of, is he truly a leader? And like you've indicated several times, I mean, wouldn't the general, I'm not going to say the general manager, I'm going to say the general of your football team go to A.J. Brown, no matter his stature or whatever, and say, cut the shit? Either you fall in line and start acting like an adult, or we're going to bench you. Instead we have to have the owner come down from his box and talk to you. It seems, I question his overall leadership. And I think that Sirianni presents as one of those coaches that if they start to lose, I could see him losing the locker room really quick. I do.
Here's a hypothetical, right? There are a number of OCs. There are a number of potential candidates that are looking for head coaching positions. Do you ever think that it crossed Howie and Jeffrey's mind to say, see ya, Nick, we're going to pick a OC that wants a head coach, say Daboll, that calls plays then? So now we got a 2-for-1 deal?
I don't think this year.
Yeah, but then your luck for next year, though. Obviously there's a number of people that always get shit canned at the end of the season.
I don't see him being fired this past season because of the fact that he did just come off of a Super Bowl. He does have say what you want, he does have an amazing record, whether or not that be Roseman putting together a great team, his coaching, blah, blah, blah. We don't know, but he does have a great record, so it'd be a hard fire. But I think this year, it's so odd to say, but I think this year he really is coaching for his job. And if you remember, coming off the Brian Johnson year, there were actually rumblings that he might have been coaching for his job that year too, especially since they started out 2-2, and they just got absolutely boat raced by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Everybody was saying, oh, well, Sirianni's in trouble now. He basically got destroyed in the first round of the playoffs, and now he's coming back and he's getting destroyed. And then they obviously went on that huge winning streak and they made the Super Bowl. But, I don't think he's in trouble. I don't think it was thought of this year, but I think this year he is coaching for his job. And if things don't pan out, if they certainly don't make the playoffs, I think he's out.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be an interesting year. First of all, it's already being one of those off seasons. Yeah, we know there's 4 teams still in it. There's a Super Bowl that's happening in about 3 weeks. Yeah. We can sit here and talk about the teams that are in there, but Dan and I already alluded to it. The Seahawks are playing the Rams, and the Patriots versus the Broncos. In a few moments, we'll get to our prediction on who's going to win. We don't even have to get to a score prediction. Dan, did we lose anybody from the Eagles to other coaching positions?
Yeah, we lost our defensive backs coach, Parker, who I think really did a hell of a job. He made... Okay, so he didn't make, but he was instrumental in making Cooper DeJean into a first-team All-Pro. Quinyon Mitchell, he's a first-team All-Pro. There were so many questions around Quinyon because he didn't come from necessarily a great school. I think it was TCU. He didn't come from a top-flight school, so there were so many questions when we picked him over Cooper, actually. Obviously we got both, but so they got that. Last year he made Slay into a great player. Isaiah Rodgers looked awesome. We've had some good secondary play with Parker out there, so, it'll be a hard loss. I don't know if he's any good at calling plays, but he definitely was a hell of a positional coach, and anybody who goes to Dallas, really, I got to take away their man card anyway, so.
Yeah, that's going to be... You know what? I think any coach, any player that goes to Dallas, something gets instilled in them to be a total douche. But hey, it's just how it is. Now, when you come to Philadelphia, you got to have thick skins. You go to Dallas, yeah, you just got to bow down to Jerry Jones.
Yeah,
Dan. Yeah, there's so much. There isn't any news happening around the NFL, excitingly. I got to change the subject. We're just going to get a little morbid here, a little bit more. Okay, Dan, we've already talked about our OCs. We talked about some of the fake news that are going around there. We talked about A.J. Brown. We're done with him. We haven't lost anybody new. Phillip Rivers, though, hey, hats off to him for his. Let's go on to our weekend picks. Dan, we have the Seahawks versus the Rams. Who are you picking to win?
I actually think I have the Rams.
I have the Seahawks.
I think that the Rams are a much better offense. I love the Seahawks.
Yeah, but you're playing
though.
an offense against a stellar defense.
I love the Seahawks defense. I'm a sucker for a defensive team. Just hard fucking hits, and the way that they were hitting was just unbelievable. I thought like you were gonna need a stretcher every time they hit somebody. So I would love to see the Seahawks to win because I don't know, have they? Oh, they did win a Super Bowl with Russ.
They did. They were on the yep.
But I'm just not a big McVay fan. I don't like McVay. I don't know. He comes off as a word of the day, douche. Comes off as a douche. He does. So I don't know. So
that's why you're picking the Rams?
I am picking the Rams. I'm picking the douche. I'm rolling with the douche.
I love that. I was like, I don't like him. He comes off as a douche. But
yeah, I know. Douche, so. I just rattled off every reason why the Rams should lose, and on the alternate, I'm picking the Rams. Yeah, I
am. He's going against the grain. He's got a bet on there. It's like 40-1 odds or something. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think they're favored. I don't know.
All right, well, I got Seahawks. You got Rams. I'm going to put this down here and why I'm typing a little bit. We got the Patriots versus the Broncos.
That one's a shame. Only because I thought the Broncos would win before Bo Nix went down.
Did you hear Peyton Manning's coming back for it?
No, he's too busy interviewing for an offensive coordinator position with Phillip Rivers. He's going to be the QB coach.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. Okay, back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Broncos. No, let me put this: I would like the Patriots to win this game only because Bo Nix isn't playing, and I think it's a shame. I hate to see a guy go down, especially like that. I didn't even see when the hell he got injured, to be honest with you, because he threw a few passes after that. He threw a few passes after that, so I don't know. But
it was actually kind of amazing that he did that, that he was able to throw because the way it was a little, I'm sad. He had a good season.
He did. And, now that you bring it up, when I think of a guy playing injured, just a time filler, but let's think, what's the first thing you think of when you hear of a guy playing injured, just fighting through all of it? Let's see if we're on the same page here.
Against the Rams.
No. Okay. No.
Come on. He tore his ACL for the touchdown, came back, scored, romped them.
No, I'm thinking more Donovan McNabb. I believe he was playing the Cardinals. He broke his ankle. And I remember him being carried by the offensive lineman during a hurry up so that he could actually make it to the line in time. So I'm going to go with that one. He threw for 400 yards in that game, and he had a broken ankle. So. But that was when men were men.
Too. Yeah, they taped it up. When men actually didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to sit out. I'm having
my book is stuck.
I can't turn the page. Somebody give me their tier.
I'm going to have to be evaluated for a concussion.
Yeah. Guys, I'm not feeling well. I'm going to go sit on it's like a man cold or whatever. I go into it.
To go back to it, though, I'm going to pick the Patriots.
I already put you down versus it. So I'm picking the Broncos. The reason I'm picking the Broncos is because everybody's picking the Patriots. And I don't want to see the Patriots. I don't want to see – I mean, if you go to it, and you and I are on different sides of the spectrum here for these, is you got the Rams and the Patriots going to the Super Bowl. And I got the Seattle and the Broncos going, which is a weird, actually, combination.
I would rather see the Broncos go. I'm just trying to be realistic. I don't think that a guy that hasn't thrown a pass in 2 years is going to go out there and beat a really good defense in New England. But maybe he'll be Nick Foles 2.0.
Did you see Nick Foles? Did you see Nick Foles' tweet on
Nicky Big Balls dropping it.
Yeah.
I love
Big
it.
Dick
I
Nick,
love
he
it.
comes in there and he says, you know what? I think you'll be all right because, the Patriots hasn't done too well against backup QBs.
I love a Big Dick Nick reference. It's great.
Oh.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Nope. That was awesome. I'm glad he jumped in there and commented on it. All right, everybody. I got to wrap things up because we could fill this with BS the entire time. And Dan, why don't you close us out?
I really hope that we have more breaking news for you. We have an offensive coordinator, no matter who it is. I'd like to say we can exercise some patience even when we get an offensive coordinator, but I can't preach patience when I'm going to be the most impatient person in the world with this. So there's that. It's just, I don't know. There's so much speculation. It's hard to sift through it. And if you're coming to our show to find the cold hard facts, I think you got a problem. That's most of it just opinionated stuff. But we can present to you all the options, but whether or not they're good options, sorry, I apologize.
We're not the fake news. We're not telling you how it is or what it could be. We're giving you the information. You do it with it as you will.
We're just being presented to you what's being presented to us, which some of it probably is bullshit, but hey, it's worth talking about.
It's definitely worth a filler. All right, everybody. This has been the Philly Fan Radio. I'm John Myer along with Dan Palmieri. And
go off season.
Yeah. Go OC.
Yeah, please.
Hire an OC. All right, everybody. We're out of here.